Welcome, my friends. Let's have a look together at the dev diary. Are you excited about the federations too? If it works technically, I'm pretty excited. So let's see what this is about. It's about federation types. So you have 5 federation types so far mentioned in this dev diary. We have the Galactic Union. That's the standard general thing that has a bonus. Cohesion, will come back to Cohesion later. We have the Martial Alliance. That's something focused on fleet and military. Research cooperative, yeah, well, explaining itself. The Trade League as well. Then we have the Hegemony, built around one strong core member. The president gets most of the bonuses, but bonuses for members are also quite powerful. We'll look later in detail. Then, it's not only about federation types, it's also about federation perks. When you level up, you get perks. For example, you have 2 examples here: strength through unity and federal invoice. Then you have leveling up and cohesion, so how that leveling up to gain the perks works, how the XP work. Then we have also, further into that, federation laws, federation centralization, things like that, as you can see. Succession. We have the centralization, and what the centralization is about here. You can see the centralization, then what's the centralization about. Then we have the fleet contributions, how much it is and how it is, and what the laws are affecting it. And then we have the succession types and the very interesting challenge concept. So let's come back to this quickly. So we have the federation types. We have 5 federation types, as you can see here: the Galactic Union, the Trade League, the Research Cooperative, Martial Alliance, and the Hegemony. And the details, like the federation, will increase the trust of the members versus each other, 1 per month, up to a maximum of 50. So that's the federation bonus. It's 50. It will cost us 2 influence each month, so it's still quite expensive. The Grand Alliance, the Galactic Union, Federation modifier, the diverse ethics impose a 50% smaller penalty to Federation cohesion. So it's harder for Federation members that are apart in ethics to have a successful or a high-level Federation. They will rather have a low-level Federation. But if you want to have a diverse one, then you can choose a Galactic Union. So it was formerly pretty often the case that empires that were just connected by maybe one ethic, or even not one ethic, just by fate connected to each other, formed a federation, and it led often to total pacifists getting dragged into wars and more wars, still staying together with the total militarists, something like that. So the Galactic Union, we have an overview about that thing. A more generic type of federation that will fit most groups of empires. So if you have no clue what to go for the Galactic Union. If you want to include some very special because of their position on the map, for example, or like strategic things on the grand scale, then you'll go for the Galactic Union. Federation makes it easier to cooperate with empires, as diversity of ethics will have a less negative impact on maintaining cohesion. We'll go into it later, why cohesion is important, as an influence on experience points for the Federation and unlocking the perks. This Federation type will be available to everyone in the free patch. So that's the free content. Yeah, I mean, if you have such a portrait, it must be free, right? You have an example also that you can see here. That's actually not from the Galactic Union, it's rather from the Martial Alliance. This federation type is focused around having a very large and powerful federation fleet. Only militarists can suggest to form this federation, so I was wrong actually. This is a Martial Alliance. And these guys are actually wanting to have a big fleet. And what influence does this have? Seek to close their ranks around the ideals of brotherhood, martial prowess, and military cooperation. The ship starting experience and the army starting experience is plus 100. And you have the ship build speed plus 25%. That's quite powerful. The centralization is low. Is that the requirement? Or no, that's probably connected to the level here. So you can see the members here. They have 3 members. You can see their economy scores. You can see here, that's the bar. There's also a negative bar. So the question is, are there negative perks? Because the cohesion can go like below 0. The XP can go below 0 per turn. This symbolizes that they have some kind of cohesion, and so they get some XP per turn. If they have a high level of cohesion, like all the same ethics, they would get 10 XP per turn. If they have some cohesion, they'll get a lower amount of XP, like this 1 XP per turn or per month. If they have diverse ethics, very diverse ethics, they would get into the negative. So if you have a high level federation and then someone joins that has different ethics, it might be that first cohesion goes down and then you lose your perks. Come back to that later. So if fleet bonuses are plenty is the reason you join a martial alliance. Then you have the research cooperative here. For example, that Galactic Tech Union. The empires who wish to cooperate in achieving technological mastery should join together in a research cooperative. Only materialists can suggest to form a research cooperative. So only they can suggest, but they can invite others. That's what's meant there. And free and automatic research agreements between all Federation members is what you get from the Federation. Looking quite nicely. You can see you have a logo there. That's all. Like your Federation also has a logo, not only a name, and it also has a starting date that is recorded here, which is very nice for creating stories with that. Then we have that example to have the Trade League, here the Stellar Alliance. If trade value is the focus of your empire, the Trade League is probably a very good federation for you to be a part of. The Trade League gets access to a new trade policy which combines the bonuses of all other trade policies. So they're getting something extra. An empire needs to be a mega corporation or have the merchant guild's civic in order to be able to suggest to form a trade league, but not just to be a member of it. As you can see, they have a very high cohesion. They get 10 XP per month. And the trade policy is changed to Trade League, which combines the bonuses of all trade policies into one. So that's really crazy. By banding together in a trade league, we are able to prosper and secure profits on a whole new level. Each collected trade value earns us one... Yeah, that's a new trade policy here, the Trade League policy. You can see here, 1 energy, 0.25 unity, and 0.25 consumer goods, which is absolutely exceptional. Like, the total sum of it is not so big, I think. But if you focus on trade value, my goodness, one planet can give you like 400 trade value. So that would give you 400 income from trade alone, and 100 unity from trade alone, and 100 consumer goods from trade alone. That's absolutely crazy. So the Trade League is something to look out for. Go for a megacorp into a Trade League. Woo. Woo. That's gonna be crazy. Crazy powerful. I'm looking forward to playing something like a Trade League. Like the Hansa in Stellaris. Wow. Yeah, now let's look at the Hegemony. So, what's going on there? The president is the most powerful man there. Federation type is built around one strong core member. As already said, the president gets most of the bonuses, but the bonuses for the members are also quite powerful. Only authoritarian empires may suggest to form a hegemony. Suggest, but not. Others can be a member of it, just like that. So, what is the member modifier? Members cannot freely leave the Federation, so it's a kind of a Federation prison. It's something like vassalization, but not quite so hard. cannot freely leave the Federation without the President's approval. So I can imagine if they would declare a war, they can like bring as a war goal members into that hegemony. That would make sense. The President refuses, the member gets a special war goal to leave the Federation, so you can rebel against it like a vassal would with an independence war. Then you have Federation perks. Federation perks get unlocked or will be accessible when Federations level up. Perks they get access to depend on the type of the Federation. There are 2 perks that give bonuses to every member and 1 perk that gives the bonuses only to the President. So in the general, the Federation has, like the President has 3 perks and the members have 2 perks. However, the Hegemony flips this around by giving the President 2 perks and the members 1 perk, which does not benefit the President in this case. So the President in the normal Federation gets 3 perks, members only get 2 perks, but the President benefits from the bonuses to members. In the other case, the members get 1 exclusive perk and the President gets 2 exclusive perks. So not only a different position the President is in, but he's also treated very differently. He's not a member, he is the President. The President is something very, very special in there. So let's look at 2 of these perks. First, a Hegemony member perk, strength through unity, freed of the toxic internecine bickering that characterized interstellar relations before the rise of our Union. Partner states can focus their energies on productive labor for the good of all. President modifier, no effect member modifier, resources from jobs plus 5%. So that's nice. Our Federation needs 1200 XP before we unlock this level. That's quite a lot. I mean, imagine you get 10 XP per month. Then in 120 months you will be able to unlock this. That's, what is that? 10 years and 10 in-game years. So that's something. 10 in-game years if you have the maximum level of cohesion. Otherwise 20 years. So it must be so that if you take the dates that you have now on like score victory, you have a victory that they like. Essentially, the new point score system tells you that Paradox, because unable maybe or unwilling from a gameplay standpoint to acknowledge that some players want to play on forever, like it leads to problems. It leads to big problems. So you have like that 200 years corridor that is, I think, preset. And then the game ends and there's a score victory. You have to start very early with your Federation to have benefits from this, to actually unlock these perks. So let's say you have 5 XP, so then it needs 20 years. So you need 20 years, which means you need 10% from the whole game time to unlock 1 perk in your Federation. So it's a giant achievement to have that. Now, if you need 1200 for every level, and you have like the 5 XP or something, that's, if you have the 5 XP, seeing this bar, that means if you have 5 XP, you still belong, or 5.01 XP, you belong to the top quarter of Federation cohesion. And for that you need 20 years to unlock maybe a level, if you get a perk at every level. As you can see, level 1 needs 1200 XP, so it makes sense to have this linearly going up, because then you have here 20 years till level 2, 40 years till level 3, 60 till level 4 and 80 till level 5. Wow. So you could spend like nearly half of the time that you play one Stellaris game unlocking perks. So it's not something quick. You have to be in it very thoroughly, very much concentrated on it. And if you're not playing multiplayer, I believe this is heaven for multiplayer, but if you're in this with an AI, it could become stressful. We'll see how they refine the AI for this, because that needs to be done. Now look at the start dates. Look at that. You have these start dates. That's a very early start date for the Martial Alliance. 30 years in, you have that thing. These are starting 60 years in. Then you have the Hegemony that starts out of the bat. And that was something mentioned at PDXCon, that you can start with a Federation with, for example, a Hegemony. You can start with that right off the bat. And I'm not sure if you can customize the members of your Hegemony or not. But it would certainly be very interesting. So let's look at the other perk here. The President gets an additional envoy for that example. Better future we are trying to build will only work if all beings know that we mean to achieve. We intend to be a persuasive force for peace in the galaxy, and we get one envoy. The envoy has the possibility to do diplomatic missions, kind of. It's like in EU4. And that will be further elaborated in a future dev diary. So let's concentrate on what we have. Each time a federation levels up, they will get access to 3 new perks. So they will get access to it, but I believe they can choose only one of that. And not all of them. Otherwise, you cannot unlock all the perks, right? Even if that looks like... Is that the perks? Like you could have a starting perk. And you could have 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, but different ones unlocked. So let's see what becomes of that. So we have the cohesion. As I already told you, you have positive or negative cohesion, and from that you gain XP. To gain XP, a federation needs to have positive cohesion. The amount of XP a federation gains or loses per month is directly tied to its cohesion, which is a value that ranges between minus and plus 100. You can see here this federation has a totally bad cohesion. And where's that coming from? It's the starting, probably the starting point is minus 100. And this means you get no XP. You get minus 10 XP, but if you have no XP, then you have no XP. Base, you get 0. Might be able to modify that. Monthly cohesion impact is 2.65 because invoice assigned you have. Give you 4 cohesion. If you assign the invoice to the other member, you can increase the cohesion. And this is represented here. So we get 4 cohesion for that. And then from members and diverse ethics, you get minus 1.35, and this results in 2.65 monthly cohesion impact, which makes your cohesion rise constantly until that cohesion gets positive, and then you can earn the XP. There are a number of things that will reduce cohesion every month, such as every member. So if you have more members, you'll have a lower cohesion, at least at first. Diverse ethics and opposing ethics. Federation members can counteract this by assigning envoys to the Federation, which will increase the monthly cohesion. When it's at 100, Federation will gain 10 XP every month. Federation loses XP and drops a level, they will lose access to their perks after a few months. So we have to be careful. Then we have also extra Federation laws, as already mentioned. So the Federation laws. It's possible for Federations to customize some aspects of its rules. They can have different laws at different points also. Access to different laws at different points. Research Cooperative can never have the highest level of fleet contribution, as an example. They also require higher centralization to increase their fleet contribution. So there's a difference between all of them. and how you reach these levels, or how you choose the types you have there. We have the example of the USTF here, the Galactic Union. Is this connected to this down here? I'm not sure. So we can already see here the centralization. So each federation type will have a certain set of default laws. This is connected to centralization, but you can see the laws here already. You have different succession laws. How long is the turn? How is the succession type? We don't know what challenge is. It sounds interesting. The fleet contribution, so that the lower types only are unlockable then. As you can see here, this is also a federation that was formed very quickly. Maybe you can start in one then. Not only in a hegemony, that would be interesting as well. So many federation laws require federation centralization to be high enough. It's kind of like in Crusader Kings 2. Some things require high centralization. It's just like that. It unlocks certain things. It unlocks certain, mostly organizational forms. To increase the centralization, a federation needs higher level. In fact, centralization is the only law locked behind federation levels right now. So if you have a high level, you can unlock higher centralization, and that gives you an unlock on, I believe that there's the colors of these locks are bound together, and then you would have like medium centralization unlocking medium fleet contribution, nothing else here though, but like a low centralization and unlocking a low contribution, and a rotation and challenge would be available already at low centralization. And then we have this higher vote weight diplomatic, which would need a medium centralization already, and so on, and so on. So that's a very nice combination. So increasing the centralization is always easy enough, as doing so will have a large negative impact on cohesion. Again, taking the example from Crusader Kings 2, if you increase the centralization, you're activating a cooldown of 10 years, which means sacrificing a lot. And this is also, it's not a flat 10 years or something. It's not a flat cooldown, but it's bound to how much it impacts your cohesion, or how quickly you can recover from that cohesion hit. That means more envoys will need to be assigned to the Federation to maintain I'm sorry, its cohesion. So the question is higher centralization a constant drag where you need to have envoys, or is it a hit, a momentary hit? We'll see about that later. Primary reason to increase centralization is to unlock new laws. As you can see there, you have these colored locks. Again, example here: the Galactic Union Federation type requires medium centralization to have a 20% fleet contribution. Which brings us to the fleet contribution. Most federations will not start with the ability to build a federation fleet, as their fleet contribution will start on none. So they will have no federation fleet. The one thing that makes federations often very powerful. Not that powerful if the AI has the control over the federation fleet, but if you have the control over the federation fleet of a large federation, that can make you nearly unbeatable. The Martial Alliance and the Hegemony do start with a low fleet contribution. However, the Martial Alliance is also able to change its fleet contribution law to high as early as medium centralization. So they already have a Federation fleet, and they will get a bigger one. Very nice. Then let's see about this. There are succession types. So this is about succession types. Most of the other laws not visible earlier. They've scrolled down here. The vote weight is the first thing here. Could have equal or diplomatic. Diplomatic is probably based on power. war declaration, unanimous vote, majority vote, or president decides. That is the hegemony thing, probably. Inviting members, majority, the president decides, and so on. It's like going back to Crusader Kings 2 and seeing where your council decides and where you as a ruler decide. Free migration is also something you can influence, as you can see here, at least in a galactic union. Separate treaties would mean that you have not only the exclusive federation treaties, like Federation Association Treaty, which is a non-aggression pact towards one party, but members can have separate treaties. Question is, how far will this go? I mean, a defensive pact could be very interesting when you drag the whole federation in, or only partly members in parts. Like coming from EU4 or old EU4, it will only drag in one member, but maybe it can call in the whole federation. That makes sense. So there is a potential for a galaxy-wide war in these laws, if they work that way. Then, as you could see in previous screenshots, there are a bunch of different laws for how Federation can decide who becomes the president. Strongest is the empire with the greatest economy. Diplomatic weight is the empire with the largest diplomatic weight. And that will come later, in a later. Rotation will rotate the president. That was the old way the federations were made. The new way was like strongest. Diplomatic weight would be the new option, so to say. The random will choose a president from a random member. Could be also quite interesting. Challenge succession type allows you to pick a challenge type for your federation. Let's see about that. Is that connected to the psionic battle? Perhaps we'll have enough psych-capable pops next time. So the challenge here maybe was psionic battle to have the highest number of psionic pops. Spirits of the Shroud grow increasingly restless as the time draws near to decide who should lead the Condign Concord during the next term. It's time for each candidate's best psychics to journey to the capital of the current president. There they shall meet to do battle only until the strongest group prevails. We do not have access to enough psychics to participate, unfortunately, and must forfeit the battle. So there's a spiritual federation maybe, or one federation member is spiritual. And only members who can take part in the psionic battle can even become the president. So there are currently two different challenge types. The psionic battle, let's psionic pops battle it out over which empire should be president, and the arena combat, let's rulers of the competing empires battle it out. What is that, some kind of Pokemon? Certain traits for the ruler, both species and ruler specific, will influence how large the chance the ruler has at winning. The chosen will of course be very hard to beat, my goodness. So if you have a ruler with, let's say, some toughness perks or something like that, he will win more. So it's a kind of ruler Pokemon. Maybe if your ruler levels up, he also gains some perks for fighting. Who knows? So with this Federation Pokemon, we'll go further to a very small thing. I still want to tell you there is a new patch out, 2.5.1, and we'll look at that very shortly because it's a very small patch. So, on to it. With the news that after a weekend in beta without new breaking issues being introduced, patch 2.5.1 is fully live right now, contains a number of bug fixes for the Lithoids release. Very welcome to many of us. The tooltip for livestock now mentions that Lithoid livestock produce minerals instead of food, and chat muting commands now work consistently between in-game and lobby chat. And then we have the bug fixes. Lithoid empires with a Terravore civics should no longer occasionally end up blocked from social research. Yeah, that's important. Fixed so that players get the correct visual representation of chosen parts for the Lithoid ships. That helps as well, as they are beautiful. And you should see it fixed Lithoids wrongly getting unhappiness and growth penalties from negative food. That was, like 2.5.0 was even released with that, knowing that. So it must have been a serious issue, but they fixed it now, thankfully. This comes from negative minerals for them now. graphics options chosen in-game launcher should actually apply in-game now. Yeah, that's a practical thing to have that set in the launcher and then have it in-game because, well, you know how it is. If you have to set it in-game, then you have to restart the game and so on. So doing that in launcher is cool, and cool that it works again right now. Launcher should correctly handle mods and game options on the Paradox Plaza version of the game. So in others not. And fix the crash when network is disconnected. Yeah, that helps, right? That's like the worst thing. Network disconnects, so your host disconnects, and then like the game is lost. Lost forever. Not only lost because, yeah, but lost forever. Not even savable. That's terrible. Very good that this is fixed. Save games shouldn't be adversely affected by the switch from 2.5.0 to 2.5.1, but we can still roll back via right-click on Stellaris in Library Properties Beta, choose the desired version. And if you want to cross-play between Steam and other release platforms, like Paradox Plaza, Good Old Games, or the Microsoft Store, need to opt into the cross-play beta Stellaris test by the same method. If you have 2.5.0 multiplayer game you want to finish before updating, you should roll back to the cross-play rollback version. So there's also a multiplayer old version now. It makes sense for betas. And they want to continue with as many bug fixes and improvements as possible as they continue the work on Federations. That's something very welcome. The new Paradox launcher continues active development in parallel. There have been, I'd say politely, mixed reviews about the launcher. When the launcher started, I've tried it 1 year ago, like the exclusive Paradox Plaza launcher, not the one that you now get also via Steam. It was just terrible. It was really terrible. Like you could set settings, but really the only thing that worked well was I think graphics of 1080 p60 or something like that, or p30 even. The other things didn't work well, so they've improved it massively. It's now a lot better, but as I hear, many people are still having issues with it, and no wonder. It's something new. But with a split up of platforms that is coming with the Epic Store, with Steam, with Good Old Games, with Rockstar, with whatevers, it's probably a good move to have an own launcher, to not be dependent on one kind of store or something like that. So that's good. They improved that thing. That said, it was a very, very interesting and deep dev diary. I'm happy they did that. I hope it technically works, and I hope the AI understands at least a bit of it to make that work, to make AIs also profit from Federations. I'd like a better war AI. I'm calling it as that for the Federations because my usual experience is that they meet at some point, or they take forever to meet at some point, and then they don't move, they just sit somewhere. Or if you're part of the Federation, they just randomly fly somewhere, and if you set the same course, they fly somewhere else, and then you're isolated against some kind of other empire's fleet and lose. That's what could happen. Right? So, if they fix that, I'm looking very positively towards Federations, because it's such a really, really good concept, well thought out from the ideas. If it gets worked in very well, then it will be heaven for players that look more for diplomatic options. And I'd go so far, that concept could be exported to other games. Like, look at that up there. What could that be? So, thank you for watching and happy gaming to you. This is Immanuel signing out. I hope you'll be there for the next one. Happy gaming to you. Looking forward to have you here in the next version of this, and maybe we'll experience federations together. That would be great. That would be great. See you soon, my friends.